Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WGLEU, and if you blink, you missed it. We're already on to our last game of the night, match number 3, of course, between Wombats on Tanks and Knackebrod here. Wombats coming off a little bit of an average start to with their return, of course, after the break in WCA and all the rest, going down to Synergy, who we've seen have issues of their own. KB looking pretty strong, actually. I mean, they almost faltered to Rusty Roster before the break, but they held it together and got the tie-break win. A team on their debut season looking very strong overall.
Yeah, I think at the beginning I was like, hell yes, these guys are going to play very well as a new team. Oops kind of took the limelight at some point in time towards the end of the season, and certainly coming off a win against Penta on Tuesday, they certainly have kept that position. But I think KB can make a comeback here as best newcomers. And they have to start, of course, against a very hard team indeed. And, you know, often we see, well, we did last season at least, and even in, you know, a couple of the previous season when, you know, Virtus Pro lost against Spale and then had to come back and start winning the season, that Wombats might have, you know, taken Tuesday's loss as a kind of a wake-up call and start playing on the normal level from here on out. So it could be a hard game for KB.
Last time they lost to Synergy last season, that is exactly what they did. They made a comeback. They started playing some fantastic tanks.
Around the same, around like match day 5, match day 6, somewhere
midway
there.
Through, somewhere. We've seen some games from them, but excuse me, that have been just like, what are they doing? And then some games where I'm just like, well, this is brilliant. So it's funny, you know, the better you are in your good games from these guys, it seems like the worse they can be in their bad games. There's no real like middle ground. They don't really grind games out. They're either really damn good or something is clearly amiss. But Millie, you know, when people see the name Wombats and Tanks, they might not know exactly who they're voting for, but we know, of course, Virtus Pro of old taking an Australian creature as their namesake, which is just fantastic, by the way. Good on you guys. Brownie points from Mitch. But the voting, of course, Knackebrod, a new team, but one has shown promise. Where are people putting their eggs?
Well, the vote is online, so people head over to our Facebook page to get involved. And currently it's, well, almost even-ish. It's 63% for Knackebrod. So
really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's, well, let me double check, but I'm
That's right, you checked that. You
sure.
checked that.
Yes, I already checked that. So 63% for Knackebrod and therefore 37 for Wombats on Tanks was correct.
Nailed it. Nice work.
Yeah.
Okay,
people,
so
the vote is still open, as said, and already mentioned before. It will stay open until the 4th round is over of this very matchup. So there's still time to get involved. If you haven't voted yet, head over to our Facebook page and also hand in your predictions via Twitter as well. Use the hashtag WGLEU to make sure that I can see your tweets. And also we had our dancing kitty buddy, Imprezovi Kotek, if I'm not mistaken.
Old mate.
He said that Penta won surprisingly well against Synergy, and with that performance, they're pretty sure one of the top 4 teams of the season. Do you agree, Ollie?
I mean, yes. I don't know. I think we haven't seen enough of them, really. We saw them twice this week, but I kind of feel like they've still got some catching up to do. So maybe in the next couple of play days we'll be able to say that. But I think they always surprise me, Penta. I think that's what really they have for them going.
That's true, that's true. So people, just tell us your opinions, as said, by using the hashtag WGLEU. And also make sure to follow our Twitter account, to like our Facebook page, and also to subscribe to our Twitch channel. Well, to follow the Twitch channel, whatever. Click that button below to make sure that you get a notification and a little pop-up as soon as our show goes live, so you won't miss anything. And of course, don't forget to follow our YouTube channel. So that I think that's like all the platforms you should know regarding our wonderful league.
Yeah, I think that's all of them.
And also the websites.
Oh yeah, the website. I mean, in case everyone has noticed, EU.WGLeague.net is kind of out of date, and there's actually a thing saying like port suspended. You can still click on the Gold Series and keep up to date with the match standings. You can see all the how the top 12 teams are going. You can click on the matches and see who's done the statistics, who much damage, who won which map. But it's kind of broken, the website. We're making new ones, so yeah.
So World of Tanks EU is the next address to.
Yeah, worldoftanks.eu is. You can check all the team highlights and things like that on there.
some really good stuff that is going up on the portal as well. From even some of our Silver Series teams. You can hear me cameo in the Wild Bunches little series about sort of fixing mistakes and stuff that you make in games. So shout out to those guys who made some cool content as well. And obviously a lot of our teams as well.
Gold Series highlights.
Yeah,
exactly.
they are making content as well. Not just flipping burgers or making them, sorry. That could be the next job.
You could be flipping burgers after this show, mate.
Mate. You know what? At least I wouldn't be hungry, so that's okay.
That's true.
So great stuff on the portal. Go and have a look at that stuff as well. But let's now zero in a little bit more on this game. It's going to be, of course, Wombats versus Knackebrod. Yeah. We did get to catch up, if I'm not mistaken, with the representatives from these two teams. So let's hear what Knackebrod had to say about this match, of course, one that they would have been preparing for, would have been looking at very, very closely. So let's hear from them. Well, I think Wombats and Tanks are a very hard team. I think we both need to bring our very, very best on the day, but it could be anyone's game. I've done it. I pretty much can tell you exactly what's going to be said.
Yeah, that's it.
So, all right. So
to be fair, Hellfish, the guy who was doing the interviews, sometimes he says some really interesting stuff. He's a bit of a tactical genius, I think.
So, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I watched that doing the 754 team battle stream the other day. Bit of a rager as well, but in general, pretty good.
I can relate to that. That's all. So let's have a look at it now.
KB is a new team in Gold Series, so they'll have to surprise us.
Guys, obviously Bishop said, I think our production expected there to be more to be said in the video, so they just sort of put their feet up like, oh, this could take a while, and then Bishop, obviously a man of many, many words, gave a very succinct sort of impression of how this game would go. Thank you, Bishop, as always, mate, always giving us the deep insights about the upcoming game. I mean, what to say about that?
It's the same, like when you have those kind of players on stage, as you see it in many of our events, where English is severely a second language or a third language even sometimes. Like, you don't really want to be saying too much. So, I mean, he says it's a new team. That always can surprise. You can read into what Bishop was trying to say there a little bit. But yeah, in general, you're probably expecting them to provide some surprises, some hard games. Not sure exactly what he wanted to do there.
I don't know. I think you have to take what Bishop said at face value, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Just, we're going to do well. So, I mean, perhaps their opponents, Knackebrod, will have a little bit more to add on this particular subject. Let's hear from them in their pre-match interview.
Wombats is certainly one of the best teams in the league. They got the skill, they got the tactics, so we're really going to have to come up with something special if we want to beat them.
Thanks, Hellfish. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more. Melly's in the corner just trying not to crack up on Mike. Okay, so we, yeah. Are you okay? All good? I mean, yeah.
Made my day, thank you.
Well, it's funny because the bumpers leading into the video are longer than the video itself. So this big Wargamer logo, like 3 minutes of talking, then back.
3 minutes, 3 seconds.
Or 3 seconds, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, it's not supposed to be like the. I think we're used to those final videos where you have them talking the whole team for like 2 minutes. It's just supposed to be a little intro
like
into the game.
Camera angles like do up their nose like
it's under the chin, perfect camera. No, it's just supposed to be a little flavour into what we can expect. General thought of the team.
Yeah,
nothing too far.
I think we could use some more salt at the very least then, flavouring-wise. We haven't heard too much from these guys. But our first map is going to be Himmelsdorf, guys. We haven't seen that one yet today, so it should be a cracker. The 113 is coming out from Knackebrod here. That's interesting, Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, the 113 is always a good tank. It got buffed quite heavily in 9.13. Better DPM, faster traverse over pretty much everything. Although it's Himmelsdorf, it's not that much difference. I think 1 degree or slightly over gun depression increase. So yeah, it's a good tank now. It can keep up with the FE215Bs. It can keep up with the T110s, and that's certainly a good thing because it increases the kind of diversity we get to see in the map pool, even though we don't really need that at tier 10. And yeah, it should be interesting. 3 of them we haven't seen. I think we've seen 2 maximum.
2 maximum. Well, we got 3 this time around. Let's jump into the action. It's going to be the Wombats on the red. They are on the attack to start things off. And Knackebrod will have to be defending here with those 113s, an E100 Waffenträger, of course, and some 5120s here as well. So definitely, Oliver, some heavier lineups.
Yeah, I mean, it was the aggression from those 113s that's interesting. And Hellfish said in that little team interview preview that they do have to come up with something different. But considering what Synergy did, they don't really have to. Failware just gets caught out straight away with 1,000 damage onto him.
They literally look like 5 different directions of damage coming in. Luckily, the 113 has 2,300 points of health, which is a lot. It's a nice amount. Not quite, you know, IS4 FE215B level, but still decent. So taking a bit of a beating in the middle of the map, and Koritz did also take some damage in response, but he definitely managed to get value for that one as well. His engine's out as well. That's not good. He's kind of stuck there for the moment. But still, information gained is definitely going to be capitalized on here in the coming moments as the Wombats have alighted from the hill. They've opted to go now out towards that western side because Knackebrod really have put a lot of their forces close towards that southwest.
Yeah, and actually Mighty Arto could be in a lot of trouble right now. The MX50B, FE215Bs, IS4 are all starting to push in, and he's on his own, unsupported really. Oh no, he's got a bit of support in the back from Bratty and Tarantula, but still, it's a straight line, and really they can't provide that much.
I don't know, man. Wombats are now really starting to get involved here. I mean, still a lot of health on Knackebrod for the most part, and Bratty actually takes down his teammate, so that's brilliant. First of all, just absolutely brilliant. That's not what you want in this sort of situations. There are times where it's okay, it's not going to hurt you. This is not one of those now. As you can see, the Wombats are just going to try and capitalize on that as much as they can and come forward. It's only a slim lead to them at the moment, but they still have all 7 tanks up against 5, and Crux is almost dead as well. So these 113s really have to make a big difference here. But look at this, they've walked into a crossfire. Hellfish taking shots from behind. These 113s are really trying to let loose here, but Wombats always seem to have an answer.
It's great from the behind from Breakneck as well. They've got an autoloader and a single shot. Perfect situation for them. Shots from multiple angles. And right now, Wombats are so far ahead.
Oh my god, Pad on 3 points of health. All of those 113s are quite heavily damaged. They're beaten, battered, and broken, and they're going to skid to a screaming halt here right in front of these Wombats who are just going to stop them in their tracks. Wombats are tough things, you know. They're not easy to push over. They're fairly heavy, solid things, as cute as they can be, like Kusok's cornrows last year. Not exactly the most harmless species now, and Just Cause is going to be off reload in a second. He's going to take down Failware. If you want to see Kusok's, the evolution of Kusok's hairstyles, by the way, there should be some photos we can put together because he always comes up with something crazy. Every season finals, he's got a new hairdo.
Unbelievable. I'm pretty sure his mum's like a hairdresser or something.
Well, I don't know. Like, he literally had cornrows going one time, but maybe he's going to have a new haircut ready for the season finals if he gets there, because that's an important step in the right direction. First round to the Wombats.
Yeah, first to the Wombats. Oh, yeah, the Wombats. Yeah, you're not wrong. Sorry. I got confused. But, yeah, I think a pretty convincing round. I think if Wombats, if KB had a little bit more time to kind of set up there, it could have been a different story. But Wombats chose their direction. They saw Almighty Arto there in the FE215B. They pounced. They took him out. You had Bratty in the background doing, 750 average damage is what the Waffenträger can do. One shell there. It's a big deal. Let's be honest here. You can't really team kill with that tank. And the problem is, I mean, we've seen this before. That straight line along the 2 line, even if you have support from behind, you've got those rail carts, so you can't get good peripheral shots. And realistically, because the rail carts are there, you can't really get 2 tanks abreast, or the other team can have 3 in against your 2. So it's all sorts of bad. And yeah, that's where really the game was won and lost. The 130 is trying to charge out the middle. Good crossfire situation for Wombats.
Yeah, we've seen that charge strategy before, people going straight across the middle and really trying to close the gap. But when you have tanks set up to receive that, normally spawning in from north or south, if you go towards the hill and you're still going up the hill, you can't fire at these tanks in the middle. But we had Koritz up there spotting them out, and there were tanks in position for Wombats and tanks to actually make those shots. So very, very important stuff. The way that you set up to respond to that. Very much a ham-handed strategy, I feel like, from Knackebrod in that round. And you can see that Just Cause highlighting there with some good damage.
Yeah, he was a 50B on the side. He did some great stuff. And I think it's always a bit of a risky play. If you're from the defensive side, charging through the middle, that does show you that you're kind of desperate in some respects. Because you're in the defensive side in Himmelsdorf, you don't necessarily have too much to worry about. You're definitely on the better sides of the statistics. And if you play your odds right, play your game statically, you can win quite easily. So now, we have a situation where KB's got the harder side to play on, although Himmelsdorf these days is pretty bang down the middle, 50-50. You know, maybe this aggressive kind of temperament they've got right now could work in favor.
Double FE215B, double 50B, no real changes, except they are bringing in the 113 here. And Knackebrod don't really want to do that. They've actually gone from 3 113s to 0, going with an IS-7. TVP also in the mix here as well, and a 1390 of Tarantula here as well for a little bit of extra mobility.
Yeah, 1390 is always good to see. I feel like if that tank is played properly, it's definitely the best tier 8 you can use, but it's also unpredictable with that relatively long aim down time. So it looks to me that KB wants to push the hill and the 8 line like we've seen plenty of times before from many teams in the past. And with their lineup, I mean, they have got no E100, so I guess the 8 line probably isn't where they have to go, where they want to go to if they really have to. They got the TVP spotting the hill. I think that's a T110E3 in the background. Yeah, it is with an AMX50B. So heavy hill presence from KB.
Yeah, they really are setting up on that one in a big way. And to put such a heavy tank up on towards that hill says a lot about where you really want the main fight to be had here. You don't put a 110E3 on the hill unless you intend for it to stay there. So, you know, this, I mean, reduces the flexibility of KB a little bit. Of course, they're kind of committed to this, at least for the most part, if they want to push off that hill. But they have time. They've got a whole 8 minutes, 50 seconds to do this. I mean, the Wombats setting up what I feel is a fairly standard kind of manner. They're not really committing anywhere as well. So they know if they're going to be hit by a T110E3 on the attacking side, no less, they better hope that they are able to respond to that.
Exactly. They have to be really careful. That's probably the main concern for them. But we can see actually Wombats starting to push up the hill with the 50Bs. Kusok's going over towards the side, of course, a little bit slower in that IS-4 to head up there. And Karit's in the background with the RU-251. So, I mean, it's going to be a super risky move with even those 3 tanks there. I mean, T110E3 is a beast. Quite hard to penetrate. Doesn't matter what tank you're playing, what kind of penetration you have. Even the Waffenträger can struggle, and that's got 360 penetration.
Yep.
I feel like a T92 with 390 with AP would be able to penetrate it reliably, but that's about it. And
Of course you bring that up.
yeah, I mean, I've got to say it. Highest AP penetration in the game, I think. But KB's starting to push off the hill. And one of them just gets spotted, and
Oh dear.
oh, that could be the bait and switch here. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what those 50Bs want to do from Wombats. So they decide, okay, we want to take on these two, which would definitely not work out for them.
KB don't even know what they want to do. I think Hellfish back to, oh, really?
Yeah.
Boys, driving school. They're not even sure really they want to go for it. But I mean, spotting those tanks, that's such an incredible amount of information for Wombats now. And it's almost as if Knackebrod want to incite some sort of aggression up on the top of this hill. The 110E3 didn't go off the hill. It's sitting up there, getting a little bit of hull down. So what an interesting place for a big fight to be had here. And Wombats are trying to make sure they've got all their tanks in the right places. And now Knackebrod want to push forward. So I don't know. They're going to retreat. They're going to stay. Very hard to say. But of course, like I said, they don't really have the flexibility to back off on this one. Whereas Wombats can give some ground here. They've spotted some of those tanks on the hill. They just went yellow for a second. So Wombats know that the bulk of the force for Knackebrod is still up there.
Yeah, I mean, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, do I stay or do I go? I think that's what KB is going to be thinking right now. And, I mean, it might be a good idea if they just push straight off the hill with this 110E3 and then have the background support, because the E3 has got good gun depression and super hard. Was that HE?
No, that was a collision.
Was that collision? Oh, okay,
Yep.
fair enough. Yeah, that obviously, yeah, of course, a collision. But I thought Hellfish would just go straight across and make that 750 damage shot, but he's going to go for Karitz.
Oh, God. Poor Karitz. He's been left on his own by his team. He's even going to try and have a fire back. Some good damage coming towards Hellfish because he actually has had to crest the hill, so his lower glass is still able to be shot here. But, well, that's an interesting little exchange there. Look at the FB215Bs now moving up on that 8 line, getting into position as well. And Karitz has got nowhere to go. No matter where he goes, he's getting slapped. Yeah,
he's getting absolutely destroyed left, right, and center. And Wombats doesn't have really that much support from the left side, so I think that's the MX-1390 and the I-7 could actually be a good flanking maneuver. But Wombats are going full in against these FE215Bs.
This is quite nice. They're going to be flanked here, completely pincered now from the tanks pushing off the hill. Knackebrod looking good right now if they can make this work. Just Kos and Kusok have to get past that little hill, I think, if they want to avoid some serious damage coming in behind them. Now Crux is getting up behind. He gets a finish on Kusok. Povel's there as well, but he's got Bratty as well staring straight right at him. And this is great maneuvering by Knackebrod, but they have to get that mid to late round under wraps here. Just Cos is trying to buy some time for his team. He's backed up into the corner. He's on reload as well. So Mighty Artur is going to push forward. Pad gets a shot. But where's the cavalry for the Wombats? Do they even have cavalry left now? Looks like the shoe's on the other foot.
For me, it looks like the AMX 1390 is actually locking that FET-15B in the middle down on Coca-Cola. And Just Cause is dead 100% here in the AMX 50B, 1.6k from that burst. Doesn't even penetrate that last shell. And yeah, Breakneck is kind of left out to dry on his own. And I would believe that's a game, to be honest.
That has to be, man. Knackebrod there, pushing towards the hill. It looked like for a moment they were actually going to back off and leave it. They were afraid of maybe what the Wombats had waiting for them. But the Wombats made the mistake of staying for far too long and coordinate a good 8-line push as well. Bishop's going to burn to the grounds, and so will Wombats' chances of making this a clean sweep map. Back and forth here on Himmelsdorf, and it's Coca-Cola now just to be the last man standing, albeit not for long. Convincing victory here for our rookie team.
Yeah, both teams winning on the attacking side convincingly, as you said. I mean, it did come down to that hill battle. I felt like Karitz wanted to kind of leave, but he knew that the T110E3 would peak, and maybe he should have tried and leave and force that T110E3 to peak, because then, as you said, the lower glaciers, the weak part of the T1 and T110E3 from the front would have been exposed, and the 50Bs can actually do some damage. But then, you know, the FET-15Bs got so far up that banana road, the 8-line, before they got spotted. So Wombats were forced off the hill from one side, and the FET-15Bs from the other side. IS-7 AMX 1390s from the middle kept the other tanks in place, which wanted to provide some good cover. And you can't ignore an AMX 1390 because it will 2-clip a tier 10.
Yeah, that's right. You can give him a chance to reload or even get one clip off as well. If you're coming in from behind, you're going to penetrate a good amount of those shots. Even at tier 8, you still have some penetration on that 1390. It does leave a mark, you know, doing 1,200 odd damage in that clip. I mean, it's as much as the TVP is going to do per clip here. So yeah, something that you do need to deal with fairly quickly. There might be more important targets to take down, but you cannot ignore it. And it's a great flex tank to have. It's really, really good. I mean, the same can be said of RU251s for a similar reason. You must respect that lower tier tank, regardless. I mean, things have changed now. Back in 742, we used to have 2 tier 1s, which really didn't mean squat. Now, every single tank has a purpose, and it needs to be given that much respect. I mean, good stuff here from KB. A lot of damage being dealt by them, and really not very much here from the Wombats. You see 5 of the top 7 are from KB.
Yeah, one of the first times we've ever seen that T110E3 actually do well. We've seen it picked up quite a few times. Maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4 times Himmelsdorf has come up this season so far, but it's never worked out. So good to see Hellfish, the team kind of strat caller for KB, working well with that tank. Now, only Just Cause working out, really. He was that 50B which backed into a corner. Very consistent player, perhaps the most consistent player for the side of Wombats. So, 1 apiece on the first map. Not particularly convincing from Wombats, not particularly convincing from KB in some respects.
It's Himmels, I guess.
It's Himmelsdorf. I mean, like, it's so polarized in some respects. Often we see that 1-1 scoreline.
And Karitz wasn't able to do any damage himself. So while we're talking about a 1390 for KB able to be a factor, and we see this RU251 fulfilling a similar role, not really doing that. So that also can really count. Now, tank picks here as well. AMX 30s coming out here. Prokhorovka, guys, is our next map, so I should point that out. One that I like a lot here as well. Often teams, as we sort of said, play around the objective. They don't go for the cap. They want to go for a fight here. I mean, it definitely looks like Wombats got a bit of a brawling composition going there. Yeah,
I mean, both teams do have a pretty brawling composition. Prokhorovka, it's, you know, we haven't seen much of Wombats, so we can't really say what they're like on these various maps. Wombats, KB is pretty good. 62% win ratio, 2.5 win ratio. Definitely respectable from them. And Wombats have had unbroken win streaks on Prokhorovka in the past, so they definitely, you know, have their eyes around this map, their strategies around this map. But Prokhorovka in general has been one of those maps that has changed so much, like with the fiery silent, whatever it was called.
Yeah, fiery salient.
Exactly. So salient. It changed it a lot, and that does play a big factor, a big role in how these two teams set up. So for me, it looks like Wombats is on that right side, trying to spring some sort of trap. QR observers to draw a circle and right trap, as they did all on Tuesday. And they got the TVP in the background, T54 kind of defending that middle, getting some good spots with the IS-7 hull down.
That's where you want to be in that tank, really. Often we see that IS-7 pretty much just patrols that F-line. If he needs to get across towards a fight on the eastern side, he just trundles his way over there. So Knackebrod have an important piece in play in terms of that IS-7. You can see Bishop in the distance as well. Thank you. So we've got a trap and a double trap there. You're not wrong. I mean, you can see that these tanks, the Wombats are hoping that, in the trend that a lot of attacking teams do, go over towards that eastern side set up in the village. Now, that'll be spotted out by those STB-1s in time and also the Coca-Cola T-54 on the hill. A lot of cover there in those circle of trees, really, compared to what mostly this map offers. Almost like, well, an obvious trap, really. Look, it's a ring of trees and bushes. Brilliant. But still, KB will go towards that side. Wombats will be able to spring this little trap. And we'll have to see, though, if it works out. I mean, are they expecting the whole of KB to be on this side? Is it going to be enough tanks for them to sort of take down what KB have? We'll see. First shot comes out. Nothing spotted. Look at that. Povel wasn't even seen. Double bushes, man. That's the real thing. Crux, are you for real? All right. So Crux is going to be out of things for a little bit. He's got to drive all the way back around and get up. So he's a non-factor for the next 30 seconds. Bratty just got absolutely shreked on the top of that hill, down to a one-shot. And this is beautiful stuff from the Wombats.
It still reminds me of when Team Dignitas beat Virtus Pro in a similar strategy, when Team Dignitas set up basically where Wombats are now, and obviously Wombats are Virtus Pro. And they did a similar thing where they just said, let the other team come towards them because they didn't think they would go on that side and did so much damage. I feel like Bratty didn't need to peek there. He probably thought he could go unspotted. I'm not sure if these guys are using coated optics or binocular telescopes in that trap position. But, Crooks got spotted. He got shot. He must be thinking, okay, where are they? There's like 3 or 4 shells coming towards me. No one peek.
He's got stabilizer, rammer, vents. Is that stabilizer or lane drive? Stabilizer.
Yeah, stabilizer.
Yep. So, no, I guess, no ninja attachments there at all, really. And still not spotted. So, well, they are being spotted sort of periodically, but not enough. They're not able to be constantly spotted here. And Failware, who's arguably the centerpiece there of KB, has his Bishop on the side of Wombats, looking a little bit worse for wear, and now the rest of his team's going to leave him. So look at this, they completely and utterly deny the eastern side of the map. So that opens up things now for the west. KB will take them a fair while to set up if they really want to use that IS-7 for that sort of capture point 1 strategy. So they have to be quick about this, really, especially with Karitz can do some scouting. Karitz actually in a tier 9 for once, so getting to wield a little bit more power than he's otherwise used to, and also Just Cole sitting in the back. So Wombats have excellent cover over the map here.
Yeah, I think Wombats, the only thing which could hurt them right now is the fact that they're pretty static. I mean, I'm wondering what would happen if those SDBs would push back towards the TVP. I think they'd be okay because they got support there from Bishop. If they push forward, they would also be okay because they got support from the TVP and they got that batch out over towards the right side, I think. So I think they could pretty much do anything in terms of being aggressive and actually win this game. But it's an interesting strategy because it's one which clearly can work if you're static. I mean, they are, what, 3k ahead, basically, in this game. And it looks like, well, Bishop actually receiving a lot of damage going forwards, 709. But it looks like to me that KB is trying to win some exchanges, be in positions where they can win exchanges. Ooh, and Bishop gets set on fire.
Yeah, always. The rear-mounted engine in the IS class tanks, pretty prone to fire and ammo racking as well, to be honest. So Bishop's lucky to get away with his life there. And we can see that KB have made some maneuvering here, and it's worked out for them quite well. So while the Wombats have a good hold on the eastern side, the west a little bit weaker.
I'm not sure who spotted the IS-7 there. I mean, the thing is about that position is you can kind of go forwards and backwards. There's like a little hill you can hide behind, and if you have your turret turned in the right direction, you can actually bounce those shells from that left side. But I guess he had some problems from the front in that position. So that's a great pick-off by KB, and that's throwing the game wide open.
Absolutely. Now you can see that damage deficit. 3,000 points have been made up by Knackebrod right now. They really are bringing the crispy goodness, and it's Failware there as well in the IS-7, who does have plenty of cover, and Coca-Cola is lit perpetually, and he will get taken down. And Wombats now starting to lose control of this game. A one-dimensional strategy. They had control of the west, but absolutely no presence, control of the east, sorry, no presence on the west, and it's cost them.
Yeah, maybe Wombats should have been pushing forwards. I mean, using some of that advantage, taking the hill, doing things like that at an earlier stage before they lost the IS-7, because they could have got control of that village because they had the better presence over there. Now, they are 2k HP behind. They've lost 3 tanks, whilst KB have lost a lot of HP but no tanks, and the exchange is still not going their way as Wombats are being methodically taken down. Hill is now going in favor of KB again. You can see that, I think that's Hellfish there in the, and Bratty in the Batcher even on the hill now. back to his old position he was at the beginning where he got punished severely. I mean, he took 1.7k at the beginning, and still KB are methodically taking this one out. Povel being consistently spotted as KB pushing down that trade line.
Got 7 tanks to work with here. Let's see if Wombats can really stave this off. I'd say probably not. Pad is a one-shot, so he'll hide behind Almighty Artur as he pushes forward. Plenty of firepower between a 54 and a TVP until that check medium is on reload. And Just Cause now needs to take some time to get his shells in order before he can even come back. And Almighty Artur looks like he fancies a bit of a duel up against Karitz. Really close. Generally, the tier 10 has the advantage there. Breakneck force back as well. And Wombats are just going to go out with a bit of a whimper here as well. Not really a very strong performance from them after the first few moments. Now looking very, very weak as KB, you know, they came up with the right answer, really. Like, working on towards the western side was very, very smart. They caught Bishop out so well. And they will take the first round here on Prokhorovka after a bit of a shaky start.
Yeah, a great round there as well. I mean, such a shaky start. I think they received like 2,000 plus damage right at the beginning. They got kind of bullied out of their positions. But then we had the IS-7 situation where it was just like, wow, you know, this is a massive turnaround. I think the problem was that, you know, we were talking about how Wombats had the advantage. They could do something with it. They could either retreat back or they could go forwards. And they decided to do neither of them. And then you had the AMX-30s go all towards the north. The I-7 got pressured from the front with 709 damage, and then the damage started to roll in. He got set on fire, as a lot of these Russian tanks do once they get hit in the engine, as very, you know, nimbly described by Grosser. Yeah, and great.
It likes to burn.
It likes to burn, and they do like to burn. And yeah, I think once that I-7 went down, you have a very crucial strategic location along that train line which you can control, and that was the game.
And that's the thing with Prokhorovka as well. It's very, very hard to have complete control of one side of the map without giving up the whole second side.
Yeah.
Now, and if that was going to be the case, fair enough, but they still left the IS-7 there, Wombats that is. Here's your damage count back, and this is actually pretty impressive here with 299 average damage. Failware just made an absolute meal of that one. I mean, you could see that Bishop, obviously, in his own IS-7, really not even on the front page there. So that's a lot of damage for an IS-7 to be doing with a fairly slow fire rate. Karitz, though, as well, you know, which always surprises me. I know he's the cooler, but he's always put onto like a lower tier tank, and he does so much work, you know, even when he goes up to the tier 9 here as well. So, you know, unfortunately, it wasn't enough, though. The rest, Crux, Bratty, Pad, all there, all doing damage.
Yeah, they were all up and, you know, doing consistent work. But I think I didn't really see. I think Failware was playing the opposite number to the IS-7, right? Bishop. I think he was playing exactly the opposite side.
Yes.
And he just managed to do so many good shots there. And it's not an easy tank to play the IS-7, even though, you know, a lot of people have the most experience in it because it's the first tier 10 in the game. But looking through, again, you know, we have 3 or 4, 5 players from Wombats on that lower damage side. Just Cause, Coca-Cola, Bishop. Not doing much more than a tier 8 in terms of HP damage, so not good stuff at all from them. Of course, that's just the first round of Prokhorovka, and so far it's been tit for tat.
It's going to take a lot more than that. A cheeky little trap. I mean, slightly cheesy stuff there from the Wombats. Gave them an advantage, but they squandered it as quickly as they had actually forged it. So just a little bit more gumption is going to be needed going forward here. For the Wombats, it's Knackebrod are up 2-1. And the Wombats would love to make it 2-2 after this one here as well and take us through towards our last few maps. Again, tank pick-wise, it's a double T110 E5 here for Wombats. And we've seen that used a lot towards the western side of the map, more so than the east. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, if you want to get control of that that side, you do want to be using that tank. But, I mean, T110 E5s, looks like they're heading to the east. They're pushing into the city. Bratty gets some good spots, but he's could be in trouble as Coca-Cola to get the first shot. Very low roll from him. Breakneck, though, from the side. And this is a problem. The Batchat is not particularly fast off the line. It's fast once it gets going, but the horsepower per ton ratio is relatively weak. And one of the biggest nerfs to that tank at some point in time when it went from tier 9 to tier 10 was the cross-country capability. So KB, seeing that Wombats all over towards the right side, start to make their way to the train line, probably for some good peaks.
Brady's had a rough night tonight, I have to say. So, I don't know if he's going to become the new Fluky of Season 2.
He's not in the team anymore, man.
Fluky.
He got removed.
No, I know.
Got from Penta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's good. That's a bit of a grim prediction to be making here. But, you know, we want to see more from Brady, really. He's had a couple, I think he's done team damage. He's got a team kill even on Himmelsdorf, so definitely needs to pick up a little bit here. Still has the chance, of course, as his team actually are out ahead. Now, again, early trades in favour of the Wombats. Just damage towards Bratty, of course. Getting a bit caught out. And Knackebrod, I mean, they don't have to work around this one too much. Just get good positions on this train line, use those STBs to fire across the tracks, get a bit of gun depression, and wait to see what the Wombats are planning. I mean, Wombats, the way they are set up now, can't afford to go for their capture point number 2. See that shot coming in towards the side of Kusok? There's an STB at the south, and there's an RU-251 here. We'll zoom out and you can see it. And this is why it's so hard to play from this side, on the attacking side. Almighty Artur is firing between the tracks and the carts themselves here. The wheels and stuff actually don't clip with your shots, so you can fire through the wheels, and look at that. It's like free damage. It's ridiculous. The 251 now, Karit's trying to threaten Artur, but it's not enough to stop him. And this is Wombats now getting whittled down yet again.
Yeah, they have to push across because if they turn their turret one way, they're going to get shot from the other way.
Yep. Just not good, really. And this is what happens when you can surround an enemy team. But the Wombats now fancy a bit of a fight, and they might have done it just early enough. You cannot go for the push too late. You need to know when to pull the trigger, when to hold them, and when to fold them. And KB now will have to be receiving this push, and it's a 4v2 here, at least in this little area. And you can see one of those Wombat tanks just peeling off because he knows that Tarantula will fall very, very shortly. As Karit said to get the final blow, it is a 5v4 situation. And here is Knackebrod now hoping for some sort of counter-attack. They're bringing all the big guns now, or at least the only guns that they have left, and Pobble feeling the brunt of that one in a big way. Those TVPs really hurting. He's going down to maybe a 1 or 2 shot here, and he's got to stick with Just Cause now for the moment. 3v2. Wombats, their push timing was good. They knew they were going to lose if they sat tight, and they made a decisive call. And it looks like it's going to work out for them here.
Yeah, it looks like it is. It looked a bit like last ditch and a bit desperate from them. But, I mean, I think KB got kind of set up for the long exchange haul and didn't really expect Wombats to be so aggressive, but considering the lineup with the 2 T110E5s, it was a pretty obvious move.
So Crux is in trouble here as well. The proverbial as well and truly hit the fan, as he's got 2 tanks to deal with. They're both 180 degrees apart. He's going to swing his turret around. And very, very hard. Of course, he's got a little bit of cover here as well, but all he can really do is survive. He can't really kill either of these 2 tanks now, so he knows he's done, and that'll take it to 2 and 2 here. And like we said, those moments where we see those teams take a lot of damage and have to make that split decision between, do we stay here and try and trade back with them, or are we going to lose this one?
Yep.
When you can identify that you can't win an extended trade and you go forward, you have to do it early, or at the right time, I guess, but usually it's earlier rather than later. So I like that Wombats, they could have sat around for a while. It was still even in terms of health points, but for them, that was enough. Most teams wait to their 2k hit points down before they push, which is just a no-no. So good turnaround from them, really good to see.
Yeah, T110's just leading that spearhead, just going around, getting good damage. I think what a lot of teams do in general is that they don't go for the peaks as much. What they have is like an IS-7 or any tank, an STB in the middle, just so they can have that security in case they do push over the train lines so they can shoot north or south. But I think Wombats had 3 or maybe even 4 tanks all the way up north. Failware decided to go straight in towards the middle of the train track so he could get shot from both sides by Karitz and the rest of Wombats, and that was a bad call. But I think the game was probably over by then. Yep. You know, like 3 or 4 tanks with some bounces had been taken down from the side of KB.
So, the story, for those of you following along at home, you can see down there, it is 2 apiece. The voting, we talked about it earlier on, went initially in favour of Knackebrod here. And honestly, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe they're onto something here, because the Wombats, again, with another slower start, despite winning that last round, Melly.
Exactly, just as the match is a back and forth, the vote seems doing the same.
Right.
It's currently 54% for Knackebrod, so pretty much almost even. 4% points of 100 is
Not
almost
much.
nothing.
Well, it swung back a lot from what I understand.
Exactly, so it was initially around, I can't remember,
It's more than 60.
Yeah,
60,
70,
70%, something like that.
something, yes. So maybe the community still doesn't know where to put their money on, or I mean, Knackebrod is a very sympathetic team. Do you say that?
Sympathetic?
Yeah. No, that's German English.
Yeah,
English
not
in
sure.
German.
Denglish.
No, it's a nice team. It seems like a community favorite. The logo, the name, and all the persons around.
I think they're well liked, yeah.
Exactly. So they have a huge fan base, and I mean, former Virtus Pro, now Wombat on Tanks, are well known. Of course, they bring in their fan base as well.
Yes.
So maybe those votes go up against each other, and it seems like the community is predicting a very close match as well. So a lot of 5-4 predictions either way. So let's see how it goes, I guess.
I mean, Oliver, a 5-4 either way would be a fantastic notch in KB's belt. I mean, obviously, you play every game and you want to win. That's the key premise here. But, I mean, you know, for people to be voting as well, I mean, you've got to be feeling fairly confident here as KB, who've got some good results. They haven't actually yet put down any super good results, like beating one of those top teams. Their first few matches weren't exactly against the top teams, and then they did.
Penta,
sort of,
I guess, was the only team which they really played.
well, we know how I feel about using top with Penta sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
offline
just like
top
this,
team.
like just we don't know.
Yeah, I think for it'd be definitely their best result so far. I mean, Wombats is like a titan. They've been since all the seasons of the WGL. I guess the interesting thing for me is that this is the closest game we've had today. First game was super one-sided. Second game was super one-sided. I mean, we saw fantastic work from out of range. We saw fantastic work from Penta. So this is tit for tat, and we've had two of these rounds. You know, like the other team coming back from like a 1 to 2k to 3k, 4k HP deficit. So this could go either way. I feel like Wombats has had so much experience on Mines. I mean, like it only takes one map to win 2 rounds, and you're just away with the game.
Yeah.
So this could easily happen.
Match point.
Yeah.
That would be all it would take here. So it's Wombats on the attacking side to start things off on the lovely Mines. And Knackebrod will be defending. I mean, they're bringing the double Conqueror here, TVP, double T110. Interesting push, though. This is an incredibly aggressive push up towards the north around the rock. Do they go for some sort of crazy flank? I mean, this might be a right. Wombats haven't left anything back in reserve here. They might be forced, herded even, up onto the hill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if those TVPs, they're actually going to go into some sort of exchange. They are going to go straight across 3 autoloaders, and Wombats immediately react.
Povl taking a lot of damage though early on in the piece. It's Bratty around the corner. He gets a couple shots away, and so does Pat. This could hurt the Wombats in a big way. It's Coca-Cola and Kusok. They're pushing forward. They're trying to take down Bratty and then look towards the next target, but look at the burst damage on towards Kusok. Not even the cornrows are going to save the man right now, but at least the Wombats can put some damage back. It's very, very even, but what an aggressive push coming out from Knackebrod. Let's see though if they can make it work for them now as time goes on and those autoloaders start to run out of juice. It's Breakneck here on the bat chat. He gets the finish on towards Pad. Very important. KB down to 3.
I felt like one of that last bat chat bounces from KB kind of made this game a lot harder for them, but it can still go their way. A Mighty Artile takes a lot of damage in the middle, and Tarantula's a one-shot.
Yeah, and it seems the Wombats don't really care too much about Tarantula. They'll just cruise on past him now, and it's Conqueror, or the Conqueror of Hellfish, sorry, and Almighty Artur. The last two standing. What seemed like such an aggressive move. There's so much potential from Knackebrod now will fall in a heap, and it's the Wombats to come out on top. The hallmark of an experienced team is one who can deal with the most aggressive stuff. It was Wombats who won that round, guys, so don't get too excited, not KB. But we could have thought KB would come away with it with the way that they started there. Yeah. And I don't think we've seen such an aggressive attempt at a pincer around Mines in ever.
Yeah, we haven't seen it for a very long time at least. The interesting thing is that they came ahead in that first few seconds, but the point where it turned was when Wombats got those 2 or 3 tanks ahead on the hill, off the hill, and actually into the engagement. Because whereas KB have to push across the hill and down, Wombats can just slip off the hill because they're basically already on that side. So it's a lot quicker to get from A to B. The bat chat missed 1 shell, which means Kusok stay alive for another 5 seconds, which means the other team had to exchange 1 more. Means, it all does add up. And then the middle was just taking control of, grasp off the side of the Conquerors and given quite handily to Wombats. So that tactic's very ballsy, but Wombats just reacted immediately. They knew those slower tanks which KB left down on that lower side of the hill on the defensive side would be slower to get up, so they could get the overmatches in an early stage.
When we get the damage count back up on screen, you guys can actually see what went wrong here for Knackebrod, because I think it's actually quite striking. You're on the move and you're pushing forward. You're not hitting enough shots. They, at least in this case, didn't hit enough shots. I mean, why is it that the 2 top damage tanks on KB are the tier 9s? The Conquerors did
in the middle
1700 and 1600 respectively.
We basically didn't even see what they did.
Yes. I mean, and they did all the damage. So as impressive and as aggressive as the push from KB looked, Coca-Cola did 3,400, Just Cause Povl Bishop, all with plus 2k plus damage there. So despite being pushed onto, these guys steeled their nerve and returned fire with interest.
Exactly, and the TVPs at the beginning, I mean, Crooks did nothing. I thought we did more than that.
Very average.
But yeah, I mean, these 2 TVPs, along with that Batchat, I think they should have just been able to cancel one of those tanks which pushed back out immediately, because as you said, Wombats were on the move.
Yes.
KB were static. But that Batchat kind of went into that little cubby hole, which immediately gave Wombats the opportunity to push in to take it down while staying safe. And yeah, that's not good. I felt like some synchronization issues there from KV probably gave the game to Wombats.
Okay, so a little bit of a different lineup than what says on your screen for these two teams. There's actually no Conquerors being taken here for KB. A lot of TVPs though, so maybe some brawling in the middle of the hill, but they're going to have to supplement it with those 110 E5s and hope that they really get the damage done here as Wombats as defenders. Looks like they don't want to push too aggressively. It's only Breakneck at the front. He gets into position. And standard positions taken by Wombats here as well, just around that rock. Coca-Cola and Povell not taking any damage right now, considering how far forward they are, and Crux just getting minced.
Both teams got quite a lot of damage towards them. Just received a bit, and that allowed the turrets of Wombats to go and take on Crux, because obviously into a different direction. But I like this position for Wombats. They've got 3 good hull-down tanks there. They got 113, which obviously provides a lot of hull-down ability, and with that got better gun depression since 9.13 and 440 alpha, it does hurt a lot, and it can penetrate the T110E3s fairly easy. I think 340 penetration, as you just saw. So KB, similar HP, but this little joker from the side here, Tarantula, he could provide, a real pestilence, which Wombats don't really expect.
Yeah, I mean, Karich is being left in reserve here for Wombat, so he can answer that in some way or another, at least even fire back if he has to. And things have just taking a little bit of a pause here now as we're seeing some reloads come in from the T110E5s. The TVPs of KB are just preparing for another push here, so they want to be as well loaded as they possibly can. But look at how many shots are coming away from these two 110E5s and not connecting. They're just not hitting the shots, and they're being responded onto. Look at Failware takes 2 hits there as well. Every time Almighty Artur going forward, he's taking at least 1 hit here. And the war of attrition definitely looking a little bit rosier for Wombats, at least at this stage. Brady got a good angle on Just Cause, 2 quick shots in towards him. That's good damage. And even Tarantula now being harassed as well. He thinks that all the attention from the Wombats is towards the middle, but he takes some shots. But now the push coming forward. The 113 from Bishop, he's left that good spot. He's left the hull down area, and he gets completely disintegrated now. And the health points in the balance, absolutely. Failware having to pull back a little bit here as well. No longer can he go forward and make these cheeky little pokes. The Wombats are looking worse for wear themselves.
Karitz is actually pressuring Tarantula, but both are pretty much a 3-shot, but it's kind of cancelled out. And actually, great little play by Karitz, really nice stuff. And using HE as you should to 320 average damage, punches Tarantula and brings him down to a 1-shot.
Karitz is so good, man. Seriously, look, like the poke was really, really quick, and one more shot will have Tarantula dead to rights. And that's important for Wombats. Gives them some flexibility. Crux is now a 1-shot. Almighty Artur is also a 1-shot. And Povell here, he can peek with impunity right now. There you go. We saw that. We knew that would happen. The 2-5-1 battle is in favor of the Wombats. And Kusok takes down Failware. It's just 2 tanks left now as well. And the Wombats are looking comfed.
Yeah, they are. They are 5 tanks ahead, 6 tanks ahead even. If Karitz can just punish Hellfish a little bit, or at least keep his mind towards him, it's game over. Look how many tanks are 1-shots for Wombats, though. Yeah,
I mean, they've shared the damage fairly well, though. You've got to be honest. If your team has a bunch of low health tanks, I think we said it back at Ghost Town earlier on the night, either the enemy's not focusing fire very well, which is always possible, or your team's just trading well. Like you say, okay, like healthiest tanks, get out in front. Let's try and make sure that no one is being focused onto, not taking too much damage. So either way, it's only a good thing for Wombats here as well. And you see, yeah, it was a close one. When you have a head-to-head on the hill, normally it is going to be close, except unless you're out of range and you have a really good setup and the enemy team pushes too far. But still, Wombats navigated that, potentially rocky situation with a bit of class. I mean, their minds has been good. I mean, we haven't really had anything bad to say about their minds, I don't think, for a little while. And the worst part is that the next map is Cliff. This is where Wombats actually smash Synergy on. Even though they're lost, of course, on Tuesday, this is their 2-0 map. So this is going to be scary for KB to go into.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cliff is, it kind of suits Wombats' style where they are being a bit more aggressive. I feel like Tornado and Wombats could be that team this season who, despite all the other teams, have a higher percentage win ratio on the attack than they do on the defense. We'll, of course, have to see. I think that last round showed that KB could possibly be slipping here. We just saw more aggression from Wombats at the end of the day. They were just going forwards, willing to make the exchanges, keeping those crucial positions. And even though Tarantula was the static tank, Karitz got the better of him, which was of no consequence at the end. But yeah, Coca-Cola Povell has been at the bottom of the damage boards for some of these lost rounds and now at the top alongside Breakneck. And I think the most important part was that Bratty went down. Like, they lost the 113, but they took down Bratty, and I think that's really good. Yeah,
again, Bratty always seems to find himself on the receiving end of the first trade or the first damage, or in a situation that's really not that favourable. I mean, he did manage to get 1 clip off, so did a little bit of damage here. Hellfish, who we saw was caught out on the island towards the end, so he wasn't really able to be a part of a lot of that fighting. He decided to pull away from the rest of his team when he saw that his RU-251 was being threatened. 4 Batchats for KB here. That's quite a gamble, Oliver.
Yeah, it's a huge gamble. I mean, KB, I guess they're going to go full in. But the thing is, I mean, we've seen teams pick these kind of lineups when they're losing because they try something new, maybe a tactic they trained a couple of times, and they want to try and bring something which the other team can't adapt to quick enough, and it just shocks the other team, and they get around back, get more comfortable, and start playing their normal style again. So this could be a good or a bad thing for KB, but then it's Cliff. A lot of Batchats, not too unusual.
This could be it. I mean, this could be the last map. It's match point here for Wombats, and they're going to be on the attacking side. But conversely, it's, well, I mean, Knackebrod here, who are looking like they're going to have to really pull something out. I mean, it's 4 Batchats here for Wombats. I think I said it was KB before, so that's my mistake. So they're going to be aggressive. I mean, they're on the attacking side. Now,
really?
average. Well, I think I read it wrong, or it was. Who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway. Crap gun depression, really, for Batchats. So they're going up on the hill, not really what they want to do here. Look at the damage. Look at the front-loaded burst coming from all these Batchats. This is Wombats really ticking it up to 11 here, and the damage is following. Look at Pat just getting completely burnt down. The burst fire is so real. Wombats putting all their eggs in the autoloader basket, so they need to make these first shots count, and so far, so good.
Yeah, those Batchats have done enough damage to really allow them to reload for the 35 seconds they have to. Because, let's be honest here, KB also had a lot of auto-loading tanks.
Crux now just forced back. He's down to the one shot as well. And there's still some consistent fire to come from the Wombats. Of course, they've got an STB of Kusok who can really be providing the damage in the interim. I mean, 5 auto-loading tanks is a bit dangerous for any team, but if you can make it stick early on, you're going to be golden. And this is Karitz as well versus Tarantula, the perennial battle we've been seeing. Bishop's off reload. He does go down. He bounces a shot off Failware. Failware drops down. So those Batchats pretty much all now off reload. And this is where that second wave of damage is going to come. And Knackebrod, they can't stand up to the pressure. Brady going to get pushed towards here. He will be taken out as well. Absolutely brutalized there by the Wombats, and it's just Tarantula. Karit started off this battle with less health. He's actually going to take it down to a one-shot. No, the roll is good. That Heishi connecting. Beautiful stuff there from the Wombats, and that was a definitive performance.
Absolutely brutal, like complete destruction, just destroyed. I mean, that was
other adjectives for Rect can we
that
come
was
up with?
Godzilla versus Japan. Like, that was complete destruction.
Could have said David versus Goliath, but that's fine.
David versus Goliath, whatever you like to say. I mean, yeah, I think Wombats finally managed to get into their stride on Mines. You know, a map which they're more comfortable on. Cliff is just, you know, complete masterclass. Let's be honest. The thing is about Cliff is it's not like Mines where you can't get on the hill and be reloaded with a Batchat, but on Cliff it's slow enough.
Yes.
It takes a long enough time that you can. And you know, as soon as Wombats were on the middle position, they had the reload and they did great amount of damage. And we saw like 2k within the first 5 seconds of that engagement.
Yeah, filthy. Absolutely filthy. It's like KB, you know, when you look at the lineup of the enemy team, and I know this from playing some clan battles and playing back in Asia, you know what you got to deal with approximately.
Yeah.
You have an idea of what the enemy team's bringing. It's a blind pick scenario, so you don't know beforehand. You can't strat against it. It's not like you pick. So the strategy comes in and you need to go, all right, how do we deal with this? Probably trying to find them head on, not the best idea now I think of it, but the problem is that KB were hedged into a brawling lineup. Maybe not a super brawling lineup that the Wombats had, but what do? How do you avoid just getting crunched like that?
Well, you saw that. I mean, KB pushed straight across the middle. It felt to me like they'd already lost the game before they even loaded in. I mean, you never want to go into that situation. And what we see a lot of teams do is sit 2 tanks down into D6 so they can deal with that aggression. We saw that from Penta already today, and it stops the other team from going across the middle. But KB just went hell for leather, straight in, went for the damage, went for the brawl, and it's just going to work out against the Batchat. You can see there, Bishop, Coca-Cola, Karit still doing a fair amount, but bottom 4, Tarantula, Mighty Arthur, Pada, Hellfish, basically with nothing. Hellfish got completely cancelled out at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, that felt like a loss before the game had even begun there for KB, and not a good performance overall.
It's a grim thing to say, though, but I mean, when you see also Kusok up the top of the scoreboard, as we saw there as well, when you're a non-autoloader in a team of autoloading tanks, it's unlikely you're going to be focused down because the priority is based on those autoloaders because the opposition doesn't want to allow them to get a second round of shots in. So, Kusok gets to fire He fired 8 in that situation. He was literally untouched. He was healthy the whole time. And yeah, maybe it's correct not to focus the non-auto loader, but he had so much free damage, just free reign to do whatever he wanted, and he was able to provide damage while those auto loaders were reloading. And because of that, KB's auto loaders were also reloading, so he was just a free man.
Yeah, I mean, they can just put him into a peripheral position, and he's going to be free to do whatever he wants because the main heat spot is going to be somewhere else. But I feel like on Prokhorovka, at least, they had a chance. Himmelsdorf as well. They played well. But then Mines was just obliteration. I felt like Wombats, they know how to play that map. Doesn't matter if it's raining or it's sunny. Like, they can play it all day of the week. So much experience on it. Cliff is the same. I mean, Wombats belong to that group of players who played and practiced Cliff against other Russian and CIS teams when it was part of the Russian map pool and not part of the European map pool. So they got a real
head start.
Yeah, they got a head start. A real kind of synergy with that map. You're feeling comfortable. When you're kind of the same situation when you load into a random battle and you're like, hey, it's this map. I like playing this one. And that kind of applies to 768 as well.
Yeah, fit Wombats like a glove by the looks of things here. Melly, I mean, the vote started in favour of KB and we saw it slide slowly. Of course, the vote's closed here, but it's always as if our viewers at home also had a bad feeling maybe about the upcoming map, seeing Wombats play.
Exactly, because it dropped even lower. It ended with 51% for Knackebrod, so even... Oh well, that hurt. The last few maps where it felt like Wombats just I don't know, maybe they were hibernating and just woke up. I don't know. It just...
Wombats do hibernate.
They do.
It's true. Yep. Got a point
There's
there.
winter in Australia.
Well, it depends what part.
She's done you there, mate.
Yes, there's winter. It depends, actually. They're not like bears.
I mean, I saw you seeing snow for the first time.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That was embarrassing now. People tell me about that when I was trying to lick snow.
It was so cute.
It was really cute.
Oh, God. All right.
White stuff
Just
on the
how
snow?
you
What
would
is this
imagine
sorcery?
someone seeing snow for the first time. I was like...
I mean, I come
And
from the
then-
UK
and then you
and I haven't yet to see
started touching
sun, so...
And then he started touching it. It was so...
And then I think by the end of the day, I was writing offensive things in the snow. So I got used to it pretty quickly.
Well, Melly got the better end of that one, I think.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yes, that was quite funny,
Hashtag
actually.
Cobra.
I think there is a picture of it somewhere.
I think there is like...
But
it
I
was
love
in-
Lauren's story about
your
the
mind.
kindergarten teacher that just passed by and angrily
Yes.
swooshed it away.
Basically, there was some snow on a pole, I think, near in Tiche, where we were for
Yeah,
our
in
Season
Poland,
3
Poland.
finals.
Why are you telling
No, I'm going to
this?
tell it. And basically, someone wrote, because we were all there at the hotel, all the teams, someone wrote, Melly loves Cobra, right? Cobra from the Castle
Cobra
Group.
Leone.
We know who wrote that, obviously, Cobra. Nice work. And
Or one of Cobra's friends who from Casner who
Pretty
wanted
much.
to put him in.
he was
the
he
doo-doo.
had a bit of a crush, but that's okay. So we had some fun with drawing in the snow. Something I didn't get to do. I didn't get too much finger painting much as a child as well. So I was just letting my creative side go. But yeah, so we had some fun with it. But anyway, that's that. We can talk about this after, I'm sure, guys. My embarrassing story always comes up one way or another. There we have it. All 3 games are done. Let's have a look at the recap now for tonight's matches and give you guys an at-a-glance idea of exactly what has transpired. We kicked it off with, again, 2 Polish teams going head-to-head, and this time, out of range, coming out with a clean win.
Yeah, out of range, out of sight. Great little match there for them, and I think it's a refresher from what they had in the previous part of the season, and start the new year well. Synergy versus Penta is a kind of interesting match. I felt like Synergy played a really good set of games on Tuesday, but today just got pushed aside by Penta Sports, who picked up that 5-1 victory. Very easy for them. And Wombats grinding themselves back into season, kind of unclawing themselves from the hibernation over the winter period. And managed to pick up a good, especially in those last 2 maps, convincing win against KB.
Yeah, I would say convincing after a decent start from KB. It all fell apart. So, some nights we have draws, all in sundry. Some nights we have these more open games. But either way, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. Let's set our sights towards Tuesday, of course, when we do return for week number 7 and see what games we'll be going into for that one as well, because we have some interesting matchups.
Yeah, so we got another Polish derby. I mean,
let's be honest. There's 4
everything.
teams in the league,
Yeah.
at least every week. We can't get excited about it anymore. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Utopia, it's the best versus the worst, let's say it like that, in terms of the rankings, in terms of just the ability. Oops versus Kasna. Oops has been on fire for a lot of the season, and Kasna crew have been also very, very good indeed. So it's going to be an interesting match. I think probably the highlight for me of next Tuesday's Rusty Roster versus Tornado Rocks. I mean, Rusty Didn't have a good game today. Tornado Rocks almost got beaten by Utopia on Tuesday. Looking a bit too aggressive. The only team in the league to actually have a better win percent ratio on the attack than they do on the defense so far.
Crazy.
So I think they're just being too aggressive, and that could hurt them. But Rusty, I mean, they're not quite as experienced and good as Tornado. I just have to say it like that.
Yep, that's fine. Tornado have been a little bit aggressive and maybe cocky in some of their matches here, but we'll have to see exactly how that all goes down. So, ladies and gentlemen, time to finish things up here. Been an absolute pleasure to have you back with us, of course. We will see you on Tuesday. Lauren should be back for that one, of course. Week 7 kicks off 7 p.m. Tuesday night. Be here or miss out on some awesome action. We'll see you then.